It all took place in the Blue Bus tours.
And today we are going to be touring Ajmer. They're long articles. We'll see how much we can do because we also are going to read Norina's introduction to the Fragments of a Spiritual Diary and a bit of that as well. So let's see, Ajmer. So here we are, the Ajmer Memories. Oh, I didn't do that.
And that thing comes to me that it must have happened in Ashmere where Baba said, and it was during the pandemic that we were reading about Ashmere. Come to me, all who are in need, good or bad. In me is life immune. And I love it. Life immune, you know.
Try this once more. Do you want to start?
I'll start. I love this first page.
Let's do it. This should work.
Okay. These notes I have gathered to explain the significance of Sri Meher Baba's work during the tour through India this year, 1939. Sri Meher Baba's own statements having the definite importance to be the subtle explanation of his workings in the planes, mental and subtle, I here relate as they were given to me. My child, you ask me what is the significance of my tour in India with the Western and Eastern group. Why do I react in general and in particular in the way I do operate here now? This is my answer. I have come to resurrect. I do react in reaction in the universe as the divine life that is the reaction power in all, in any. I am the mind impersonal. I am the I, life divine, to realize in all one, all life, the use perpetual in reaction. That is the preparation reaction. I here now do operate in subtle way in mind, in I, to fulfill the pure, realized state infinite. To react in I as one, as I have descended. The scope of the new realization reaction I, here now, do realize in my own way. It is superficial and it is deep. It is superficial and deep at one time. I, conscious within in mind infinite, react in mind in finite order in conscience. I do this, to do this, I am one, all one, I, as use of life infinite. I am use. I am work. I am life. I am way. I do the reaction show of life infinite in every design in mind in man here now.
His divine mind is making motion. It is like the wind that blows over the ocean. It creates waves, bubbles, deep subterranean earthquakes. It reacts in the deep show of life, in reaction infinite, and in the dual life of men in self-expression. It is the divine wrath in life of mind infinite. It is stir in lust, anger, passion, to submerge in life infinite the demon, the I individual, selfish. Nothing is pain. Nothing is life in reaction when life in mind in spirit is the divine opposing force that in I infinite is life unselfish, life impersonal, indivisible love. Throughout this tour in India with Sri Meher Baba, we who had the privilege to be in his perfect company have been benefited in the uncommon way that one could only design as infinite expansion in conscious reaction of him doing the divine dispensation. We have witnessed the divine martyrdom of life. We have witnessed the expiation through life of mind, body, spirit. Bring forth the realization of the divine theme. We saw in this tour with God, man, the miracle of life that is fulfillment of life divine.
It was reward to see the unconditional courage win in those. One has to name the brave ones, the holy beggar, crawling, creeping, walking the unending strife along the roads of life, crude, bad, good, and so real. It was reward to see these staunch warriors on the path endure their selfless show of humility, sharing with the poor in spirit and the destitute in life the same divine urge to maintain life, unable to be tempted by food unless the hungry dog of the street is fed first. To see this humble martyr resign in non-resistance to the crude show of life in opposition for love of God was true inspiration. Excuse me. Heroic courage of those who seek for truth is the worthy cooperation that in this life of one like Sri Meher Baba is speeding the divine realization. Life unselfish was the life of Jesus. Real life of humility was the life of St. Francis. Mastery in servitude is the life of Sri Meher Baba. To realize the divine life, these men of hard labor in expiation throughout innumerable tests have in self-use, unselfish, tried to imitate the life's example of their spiritual leaders, whom they knew to be the one. Unselfish love, humility of mind, unselfish use of one's own efforts are the great virtues that create the positive result. It reforms man and his character. It annihilates the selfish I. It forms the true lover of God, love that longs for perfect union is mono-order in conscience that in them has driven in the divine urge for self-annihilation. With patience unending, with heroic self-sacrifice, they endure the holy ordeal of life as it is.
Real wonder to us was the young divine lover of God, old timer on the path, who says, I have muttered throughout all my life 2 words, God love. Today these words have become true. Saying this with eyes filled with tears of joy unfathomable, he looks up to Baba, who is standing in the doorway, waiting, ready to give him the bath and the food that has to reassure the way. Among these of the God-searching tribe that day came a crippled man who had become crippled for having sat for years in the same position, regardless to cold or heat or bodily discomfort. This one called out for food while calling loud for the material need. He was beating his head against the stone wall as if to do penance for his material want, which for so many years in self-denial he had tried to win in with pure longing for truth. Here he was, lying in front of the door of mercy. There stood the most merciful of all men, who exchanges free the impure desire, who says, come to me, all who are in need, good or bad. In me is life immune. That day was Baba's 45th birthday. Baba's gift to them was the bath of compassion and the material food which, handed by him, becomes symbol of grace. He has come to bless them all who real and true long for the ultimate admittance in the divine heart, all who struggle free and unattached for the divine fulfillment, who lend the warmth of their human heart in humble assistance to others, the ignorant ones, whether the rich or the poor, who owe the contagious state in rapture, in benediction, that is life in love, emotion, spiritual, who crawling about in the dirt and in rags to signify no other desire than to give love.
Sri Meher Baba's work is the divine dispensation as the living divine spark that in living is the realization of the truth. He is the divine spark as love motion in divine expansion, in pure rhythm. He is the Redeemer. He marks shortcut in evolution in any, in the good and in the bad. He is mercy. He is all-knowing. To us who still expiate in body, in mind, the state impersonal in reaction, Sri Meher Baba says, servitude in mind, in selfless state in being, is more than the physical act to react to all the pain as the physical order in creation. Why do men see that, and none but realize the pain in I? As us divine, I, in all, am the selfless serving one that is both hard, soft, real, false. I in all am less than the finite reaction in men is. I in mind in men am more than the I infinite is. I am all in one, the one in all expansion infinite, that in all is self-use of truth. To see in my own external work this is to see the divine I in use in all as help, as fact to react in self-use, the I in use. For this I am the divine I, in use divine. To see life realize the divine expansion in spirit, I am the divine expansion in being that is free, unattached, unconscious in use in I, as duo act, as reaction. I am the sure show of truth, that in all, in any, is pure elevation. That I hear now so in all who in self-state, in use impersonal, do and undo in me, them in I. To do in them I, as the finite order in expiation, I am descended. To be the divine I, in use, in one in I, in two in one, unself-active in reaction, is to bring in one in I as mind, body, spirit, the state of selfless experience. To see in this one in I as divine conscious reaction in I, in finite reaction, is to see, to know, to find within the state free. To live for me is to live for use of me unselfish in all, in I, as infinite as finite order in mind.
That is the whole show of mind in I infinite. I here now do stir. This explanation that in I infinite is of use to all who in I infinite show the reactionless state in reaction in the realm in spirit. To the average mind in finite reaction, this is too impersonal as conception. To the average intuition, it is too impersonal. To the self-acting, real good man in the path spiritual, it is the divine intuition in I as the I impersonal. That in I impersonal is the divine life as self-guidance. When in mind in I infinite, the self-guidance is reactive. It is the divine I impersonal in one in I as the portion in I infinite that in mind in acceptant reaction is operating as the divine self. When in I in life in the dual, The divine I as use infinite is descended. The self-use infinite in I as the I in the dual reaction in the infinite as portion in life in I as self is the divine mind in expansion in self-reacting use, that in mind in the infinite is the use of truth direct. That is to be new in I in the finite as reaction. It is new as it is, giving new the divine impulse to seduce in I in the finite reaction, the divine impulse. To live in my one in I resigned is to realize in the state unconscious the divine show of I. See me, it is I, in me is Jesus. I am in all and in every human the Christ power that has to realize the new awakening in spirit here now. I do it in a different time with a more developed mind as mental understanding. But in spirit, it is the sure show impersonal in mind and being as spirit that I realize new. I demand obedience, no more penance, no more life in ritual and ceremony of religion, but of life real in practice of life of every day. I demand mankind to react as human divine creature and no more as animal that is in the I divine unconscious and obscure, as was the mind in man when Jesus as I was crucified. To crucify is to react in me in pain.
To say one is dead and no more alive is to say to me that I do no more exist in I in man. It is here that I win in mind in man. Here I win in all, in mind, in man. Here I do win, here in you, my human element in creation. Here now, life is threatened by destruction, threatened by life material. Here now, in every corner is death doing me pain. That is crucifixion. I say this here now to all, here in the spot of peace. No more war, no more beatitude in rapture, but expression in life human. I shall win in all the conscious I, that in all is human. So the good man, the mad one, the real ascetic, all have to know me as God, who is here to deliver to life an other conscious state impersonal, that is love. Love is the feast of life in rapture in everyday's life. Love is rapture of joy in every motion state impersonal. Love has to reconcile the nations, the religious differences, the differences in race. I here in Ajmer find more life to rescue for me, to work with than in any place we were. We here know what is life divine. It is in men in all phases. It is here, there, and none anywhere, but there where love has marched in and out in bare suffering. These people have been crucified for love. We see that. We see it in everyone who here appears before me, as in non-resistance in love is mind, real love. In non-resistance in being is life, real love. So see the saint, the little hungry begging soul. It is all one life in martyrdom in life that has given to me this birthday gift.
I see these two men whose life conscious I win in being, that they were to me sure to come. Here, Baba alludes to the Mazub on the sixth plane in consciousness and to the second agent, who is the conscious type on the path in the sixth plane. I saw their lives linger in ardor of living joy and conscious expiate in love. The last step in them I shall beseech free. These I win in the divine eye, as I win any one of you. Here in Ajmer I am free to work, as here I feel life so strongly protected against the impure reaction of life in opposition. I here work unconditional and absolute and free. This year, Baba spent his august birthday in working for them whose divine experience we have reacted in deep awe, sharing with them the almond supreme of his divine living love. Later, Baba speaks again about the two holy men. He says, one of them is the advancing soul as Mazub on the sixth plane, a rare case. Such a man is still within. He is like a beautiful lake that is frozen. He is a beautiful life that has expiated and ended the strife. He is at the desireless state when in mind one is calm. He has no real desire. Those who know the difference in fact of these planes in consciousness know that what is the mind in the state in stillness. You as laymen know and see and feel. The man in the mind state pure above the finite is calm. Both these selves are free from birth and death. This is free life in being, in spirit, that has attained the state in life, in mind infinite, that is indivisible existence in mind, in rapture, in light of truth. No one is apt to go beyond this state without the personal help of God. The truth is, no man's state. Man has to adventure as high as this to know me in light. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. How
So
powerful.
the second Ajmer is the one with, so I think we'll switch to Fragments of a Spiritual Diary. So beautiful, that
I want to
account.
say when I was doing a group reading of The Wayfarers by Duncan, telling about these months, I was so excited because I was coming upon this, and I'd think, oh, it makes it kind of fleshes it out. It's so beautiful the way she's able to speak this out, because it's extraordinarily beautiful to me. I just love it.
I agree completely. It's
Yeah.
it's a treasure. And
Yeah,
it's like I read these back 69, 70, 71, but now it's like there's
yeah,
so much more depth that I'm able to let into my heart. Um, so
appreciated the operative word,
yeah,
right? The appreciate.
like
Yeah.
they're they were I couldn't even begin at that time of my life to appreciate these as I'm able to now. Just they're so precious, and like you said, Rosalie, um they flesh it out. They let you be there with Baba on his birthday
Huh.
with these six plain saints, and get a tiny whiff of the love between them. It's it's so special. Thank you for reading them.
A whiff is a lot, as it turns out. Okay, what are we
Should we go to
gonna?
the end?
We're gonna go to Norina's gift.
So hopefully it won't jump this time. We will see.
Do we have a page on this?
It's the introduction. It should have 73.
73.
Want me to start?
Yeah.
Introduction. This is by Norina. I have the privilege of releasing to the world the thoughts of the Master received by me through the stirring system of wave projections. This is different from merely subjective intuition, which often misleads people. It is Meher Baba, the living incarnation of the truth, who has spoken through me. In myself, I am nothing, but he has in his grace chosen me as a vehicle to send out the thought order of the truth in various messages to the world. Having given them to the world, which needs them so badly, I have finished my duty. Let the world receive these words of power with joy. During my stay in India, the Master told me that it was time for me to strive for self-knowledge and that he would directly help me in his own way. In order to develop my faculty of seeing, knowing, feeling, the Master asked me to spend several hours in strict seclusion. Without having to struggle frantically on my part, the operation of my limited intellect was shut off, and I sensed the direct influx of his spiritual thought order, which I used in America for my work for him. It is difficult to guess what a general transition from reason to higher intuition will take. Oh, sorry. It is difficult to guess when a general transition from reason to higher intuition will take place in humanity on a larger scale, but there is no doubt that it is taking place in the more sensitive individuals everywhere. The speeding up of the process in me is a striking example of the uniqueness of the avataric working.
After 5 years of stay with the master in India in 1941, the master decided to send me back to the United States to do his work. Before leaving the shores of India, he told me, "I have given you the order to find me as God personal. You have found me. Go and tell this to the world. You will hear my voice within. You will hear no other voice." It is necessary to explain how the message on life in the truth, released in this book, was transmitted by Meher Baba in thought order through me. The God-man can often use the mind of his disciples to impart his teaching to the outer world. When the disciple is quietly receptive, he can become the vehicle for the master's thought. When the disciple is so much detached from his ego mind that he can stop its sanskaric thinking, he lends it to the master for divine working. It is at this stage in the spiritual path that the master considers the disciple as fit for his thought transmission. The master now thinks through the mind of his disciple, and the disciple is drawn closer to the master as truth. The disciple can distinguish between the thought of the master and his own thought as clearly as ordinary man can distinguish between a cat and a dog. This stage of the disciple becoming aware of the master thinking through him is not to be confused with the lower stage of telepathic receptivity, in which the disciple is aware of receiving a thought sent by others. In the earlier stage, the disciple is the recipient of thoughts projected to him through the subtle world, while in the state of surrender, the mind of the disciple can become the vehicle for the master to think through. The master works through the universal mind. He has no limited ego mind, but he has an access to the ego minds of all. And though the master has no attachment for the ego mind of anyone, he can, for the spiritual upliftment of mankind, make use of his ego mind if and when the disciple is so spiritually prepared that he can become a pure and efficient vehicle for the higher consciousness of the master.
The disciple becomes consciously receptive and reactive to the projected thought transmissions of the master. This is a rare privilege. When the head and the heart are blending into each other, and the disciple gets attuned to the master in this deeper manner, the plane of thought in the master becomes accessible and available to him if and when the Master wills it as an act of grace. When the Master is, as it were, directly thinking into the disciple, he is not merely a passive recipient of projected thoughts as in spirit phenomena, but he is blissfully and inspiringly conscious of being overshadowed and prompted by the sustaining thought order of the Master. God, in his impersonal aspect, is difficult to access. For the aspirant, God personal is at once more real and more helpful. The truth realized person constitutes the personality of God. He comes halfway to help the groping soul. He can hear our prayers and respond in terms of a love which we can understand and appreciate. He can take us right up to the Godhead and also use us for the higher spiritual work. I want to make it quite clear that there is nothing that is my own in these messages. My ego self is completely obliterated when I receive the Master's thought order and release it to the world. I become nothing. Meher Baba merely uses me as a vehicle for his thought transmissions, for rendering service to mankind. This is his grace.
Meher Baba has attained a unity with God in all his aspects. His creativity consists in awakening love in everyone. The darkened center of the I, or the ego mind, functioning through speculative ideology, comes to be illumined with the truth only if it is aglow with love. As truth, the Master is the Supreme Self, immutable, which is the one in all. He is one with that reality, which is the ultimate cause behind all effects. In man, this reality expresses itself as conscience, or the moral order within, giving directive guidance to all. The way to truth is primarily action and not bare speculation. God comes to all as the self-sustained power and light. In the world of duality, he affirms himself as the vibratory order of pure thought. As God realized truth individual, the Master supervises the working of this directive order, which finds its manifestation through the multi-sided struggle for the truth in ways unseen, or through cool, logical reasoning, or through the lucidity of higher intuitive experience. To surrender oneself to the truth individual is to open out to all that is pure and holy. All the falsehoods created by man's imagination and all the impurities accumulated in him through ignorant action have to be banished by surrenderance to the cleansing and beneficent grace of the Master. Those who surrender themselves to the truth individual are not only the recipients of light, but they themselves become the torch bearers for the rest of toiling, groping, and struggling humanity.
All creatures in this world are entirely dependent upon God. Meher Baba is God personal, and as such, he is, in this period of world turmoil, at the head of the spiritually constructive world forces. He can raise man from the sensuousness of inflamed imagination to the purity and freedom of truth realization. He does not give mere teaching. He gives to man an experience of what the philosophers of all times have taught. He reveals the one permanent and unchanging reality. He is the incorruptible and redemptive love that makes the world new. The Master has flung open the gates of immortal life. Be ye inheritors of the peace which he brings. Norina Matchabelli, Ahmednagar, September 5th, 1948.
The intuition of the impersonal self. Group talks delivered in New York, March 5th, 1942, by Princess Norina Matchabelli. The external world does not realize the real meaning of yoga as the science by which men can understand their own spiritual structure. The New Age is utterly ignoring the spiritual order within man. This is due to man's high evolution of his rational mind. If men were less rationalistic, they would be easier in their own spiritual attainment to higher consciousness. There is no real objection in attaining higher understanding of the real values, which are to understand within the ordinary human being as the consciously understanding human being. What is the fact of the God-conscious human being?
The ordinary human being has no idea of this fact. He cannot have a realized idea or experience of this fact because he has no real desire to understand above that which the ordinary human being calls the intelligent order of thinking. No human being nowadays has the right approach to this pure function within, which is the intuition. It is misinterpreted in general, and it is misinterpreted in particular by the psychoanalysts. They all have the superstitious attitude to think that the intuition is a false mental method to approach the inner or spiritual side of man. I am here speaking a normal language because I cannot talk a mystical language in this Western hemisphere, where the rationalistic approach has fixed a definite outlook against this intuitional awakening in this new cycle of evolution. This thought order transmission was received by Norina Matchabelli through the grace of Meher Baba in the talks with the intimate group in the USA. This new cycle of evolution has a definite purpose to fulfill in man's mental constitution. The new mental constitution of man will be to realize through intuition what the intellect or rational method can never make man understand, and through understanding, transform them into a deeper consciousness of life. The new consciousness of this age will be, therefore, that all men shall have a far deeper insight, such as intuitive understanding.
Intuition is a mental condition whereby man can understand the inner organic structure of his whole mind. When we say his whole mind, we must understand the Eastern viewpoint that the whole mind is all that is, was, and ever will be the universally apparent world. We cannot figure it out in any different way, because this is exactly what men will have to realize in this new evolutionary epoch through their insight, which is the equivalent term for intuition. All these terms will also have to be rectified in the future through the actual and immediate experience of the individual, who will be capable of feeling within, through the intuitive sense, the right term. Terms and names are superfluous, viewed through criticism and diversion of opinion. When once the experience is synonymous to any kind of a term, those who can read mystical language are those who feel the inner meaning of no matter what term or word the writer is using. The mystical language altogether will, in the future, be much more appreciated, as the human being will have the real feeling for whatever is the sense or meaning within the term or word. The new age is apparently developing towards unification of thought creativeness and a pure feeling. These two diversive ways of understanding and knowledge will never be any more a matter of dispute. When once the head and the heart will have united in experience of the deeper meaning or sense, which is a mystical fact that men of the intellectual type cannot deal with.
The new age can no more be defined than by the new awakening within the spiritual understanding. This new awakening within can no more be consciously developed by man himself through study or the ordinary three-body yoga science. And here is the point where enters the new avataric power of rhythm as the awakener of the new spiritual side of man. Whatever we may call yoga science has its end when the fourth body, named the ethereal body, is stirred, brought into awareness, into the realm of mind in the self-conscious individual. This is namely what I call yoga of truth.
The yoga of truth means the actual awareness of the spirit body as the sole substance of man. This is the so-called fourth body, which is the Christ body. It is the only form which the avataric figure will use in this world, the earth, in this new dispensation of realized truth. It is not to be an uttered word in the ordinary sense that will be a divine personification of the avataric appearance. It will be the rhythm as power that will do the awakening appeal to the general world as mankind. The rhythm as power will have to be so strongly experienced that it will subdue the intellectual reaction and make men realize within, through the intuitive awareness of the creative universal mind, that it is endowed with divine light. Men shall therefore then really and truly become conscious of what he talks and thinks, the divine light. As I have said in my previous discourses, the divine light cannot be realized by man until he has realized within himself the inherent fact of the awareness of the soul. The human being today is deluded through too much intellectual understanding and knowledge about his own inherent God consciousness. Men have no idea of that which is the realization of the inherent God conscious state. When men talk about it, they dispute about the best of themselves, which is the possibility of being really acceptant and humble. To be acceptant and humble means to abdicate to find through mental study, through intellectual research, through continuous borrowed knowledge, the true fact within, which is inherent, latent, but far beyond the intellect and all its imaginary possibility, to find through struggle of its own thinking process that which never can be found intellectually.
The energy which is spent uselessly through mental research of that imaginary inherent God consciousness is almost pitiful. But what is there to be done? The intellectual seeker who comes to India to find truth is naturally honest in his intention, but very childish in his pretense to find it ready-made. No man can find it ready-made. It is the most tedious, hard, and difficult task to come up against, this finding of the truth. What is, after all, this truth of which everyone is so curious nowadays? The relative truth, the relativity of truth is not to be avoided. And to understand this is better than to be utterly agnostic. And to deny the fact of truth, which is to be conscious within of one's own inherent God. Truth is nothing else but that I come back to the term yoga of truth. And I here state, let me start that again because I missed the period. Nothing is Truth is nothing else but that. I come back to the term of yoga of truth as I state, and I state here for the general public of the Western world that it is to have been awakened within by the grace of the new avatar. The new avatar is a man. This man must be recognized when he manifests in his full power as the God who is needed, in form of a man. To be needed by man means that man himself has not yet realized his own inherent God state and has to be made wholly, wholly happy to be able to become that God man.
For all human beings, it is a terrific task to attain to this higher state of consciousness. But when they once see with their own eyes, feel with their own heart, understand with their own intellectual discrimination what is to be the fulfilled form of man, they shall not hesitate to go on and find the path through which it only can be possible to attain this ultimate conscious state called God. Man is superhuman being as he is. Nothing is different in the inner structure of man. Only the external structure differs and makes men appear separate human creatures with separate ways of interpretation, separate habits, separate desires and needs. The human being in itself is, in its spiritual structure, in tune with its divine being, yet undetected God-conscious state. So, yoga of truth cannot be any further pursued, studied, or found, or bought, or hired, or borrowed. It is grace from the avataric figure. This fourth body is in all men the same substance through this aware conscious feeling of this substance. Shall man come to greater inner understanding of each other's needs? Only through this awareness of the ethereal form will man come to deeper understanding of what is meant by new world order. All men have an idea of this term, but how childishly they figure it out. Nothing will be new in this earth. No one will invent a new machine to detect the God within. Nothing can be done to make men happy. Nothing more will be done to create a more religious outlook. All has been done in the past ages, or let us say years, since the appearance of the last avatar, who was Jesus for the Christians and Mohammed for the Eastern world. These two great avatars have brought about a deep change of consciousness throughout all parts of the world. Men do not yet appreciate it. They will appreciate it after this world war is fought honestly and profoundly in all parts of the world. The deep changing consciousness, which has come to its fullest fruition in this war, shall progress during the new dispensation. The new dispensation has to be understood as the fact-making, order-doing, consciously experienced ethereal form in man, which is awakened by the avataric figure. This Christ-conscious figure, whose name is today Meher Baba, will not be misinterpreted when it shall create the fact within man, which is above described.
The new dispensation is the same old dispensation of all times, when the avataric figure has been personified by the pure, selfless human being. It is nothing more or less than the fulfilled form of the God-conscious, divine human being that has the power to create in man what man as himself cannot create. All else is superfluous to be said on the fact of this new dispensation. Hey, Baba.
Hey, Baba. Thank you.
Well, I have to say, I almost get this feeling of having my skull pushed out. You know,
I came
Quite
late. I came late, but what I heard was just lovely. It's so Rosalie, you seem to go into a trance when you read.
I like it. I don't know. It's just rhythmical or something, you know, it's just there.
I know.
we were reading the Ajmer, first of two Ajmer articles,
Mhm.
and then we were reading the introduction to the fragments of the spiritual diary
Mm.
and Norina's introduction. And then from a group talk in New York back in 42.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have to say that when you mentioned that about you seem to go into like a trance or something, but it always struck me this from her diary when I read this, just that little bit, rest in me, be selflessly detached when you are consciously experiencing unqualified confidence in my divinity.
Wow.
Be sure I have come to this world to achieve the new wonder of spiritual resurrection. I put into you the desire to use your intellect to serve me. In this sentence, that service will initiate in you and in the world a new rhythm of pure and selfless love. And I just think, wow, what
Wow.
more can you ask for? And it's like, wow. I just love that. See, I have a little line under it. See
I know. I know.
the little Aquarian age. This is the Aquarian age, yeah, for sure.
Judy, were you sorry? Were you here from the beginning, Judy?
Not quite the beginning, no, but I heard
Close.
vast, beautiful.
Peter was there.
Nina was there.
Let's turn the light on again.
I thought, you know, when your screen went blank and it didn't have Pete on it, I figured you put your those blinders over your eyes, you know, so you could go. It's always good to see you there. Remember that hands across the water, all the way to Perth, Australia. My gosh.
It's funny. I love that interconnected. Well, just think of
Yeah.
it. It's like
Yeah.
we're interconnected, you know. I mean, it's just expressing it in this little scientific way. Wow.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I love
I
it.
just say, when you think about a rhythm, I mean, you tell a person to listen to a piece of music and they don't like it, maybe, or they don't even hear it, and you think, and you're real excited about it, don't you? This is, and it's, so it's sort of certainly, and that line was in it that Baba said to Kitty about this will be much more appreciated in the future. It was right in that
Yeah.
yoga of the truth. Yeah.
And just year to year, we realize that we could begin to appreciate it more and more. And then the people, this week, Mark, Lisa Brander and Mark Trichka were here as artists in residence,
Yeah.
and they had a workshop. And it was so funny because they started off by Lisa wanting everyone to contribute 2 or 3 words. And so Rosalie says, God in us is rejoicing his own experience of joy.
And the person in control, Lisa, was controlling this group effort, and she says, "Well, I was sort of wanting something shorter." And she says, "Would you be willing to condense that?" And I says, "No." I mean, it blew my mind to ask to condense this perfect sentence. I mean, this mind-blowing thing about joy, and I want in on it. I'm going to condense it.
And then so we proceeded. There must have been 12 or 15
That's
people in the
good.
group. And so a number of expressions from 1 to 3 or 4 words were shared. And then we began working with the various words and melodies and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. And the thing that was amazing was
This is
one
good.
woman, Kathy, we pretty much used all of the words. And Kathy says, that thing at the top,
The
we
first,
could use that as an
what you call it?
introduction. I
An
forgot what it.
introduction word. And so we all
No,
sang it.
wait a second.
Oh,
No, we got
go
to
ahead.
get.
Go ahead.
And so Lisa Brandeis thinks about it, and then she used some musical term like a locata or something. It was
Yeah.
something or other, and so there it's kind of being, and then Mariah just came up with this tune, and that just fit it. And so when the final song came up, we start with 4 repetitions of God in us is rejoicing
Wow.
one experience of joy.
Wow.
And
Beautiful.
the last time we say the joy, everybody kind of goes off saying joy, 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 like that. And that's
Yeah.
the beginning of the song. So,
Sing
There
it
you
with
go.
Go ahead.
now. Sing it with the tune.
well,
The
actually,
two of
I
you.
might be able to, hang on a second.
Well,
Let me see if I can.
if he copied it, maybe.
Hmm?
I tell you, I was very, because then when they were doing different suggestions of making the song, someone said, I am God. And I'm God. And out of my mouth says,
Oh, I
I
am
said,
God. I am God.
yeah. I says, that's very mental to contract I'm God, and I says, it's stronger if you could say, I am God. And then Lisa Brandon says, this is a group effort. And I thought, I didn't realize how strong I came out about that, and it certainly, I was not going to reduce that sentence. I mean,
So here's this. This isn't what this is. They did a rough draft to send this out that Lisa and Mark did. So it doesn't capture it exactly, but this is. Oh, one thing I should say is one of the things that was added was Kathy Riley
Tom
had
Riley's.
this thought of silver purple, and blue, which when Tom went in to meet Baba for the first time, all he saw was silver light,
Shimmering silver light.
which
Wow.
in the book, it just says silver light because Rosalie checked it. But evidently, he also conveyed to Kathy there was like these blue and purple highlights. So that is part of the song.
But it sent me to the book because I thought, where'd it get that blue and purple? And they were trying to fit it into rhyming. How do you rhyme purple?
No,
I
it
mean,
worked
you'd
well.
have to be God Almighty to rhyme
It
purple.
did well. Blue worked out, but here it is. See if you can hear it.
I don't hear anything.
No.
Let's see, where's the mic on these? Tell me if you.
No.
In us is rejoicing his own experience of joy. God in us is rejoicing his own experience of joy. God in us is rejoicing his own experience of joy. Remember my name, with every breath you learn, and let go. With every breath of life, say my name. With every breath of life, don't let go. Remember I am God, praise peace. Remember I am God. Remember I am God, raised with you. Remember I am God, silver, purple, blue.
But you know, like,
Remember, I am God, silver, purple, blue.
oh, it's another line.
It's remember I am joy, surrender. My compassionate kiss brings you bliss. My loving hands ever so tender. Nothing is as real as this. With every breath of life, say my name. With every breath of life, don't let go. With every breath of life, say my name. With every breath of life, don't let go. Remember I am God, always with you. Remember I am God, silver, purple, blue.
I tell you, I was waiting for that first line again to repeat
That would have
because
been
it's so
nice.
powerful, you know, it's like, wow. It was an experience, and all I could think was I thought, I guess I'm not a group person. Is all I could think when I was asked to condense it. I thought,
All
wow.
of those words were just the 2-3 words that people use, and everything was.
Yeah.
Rosalie, you truly are a one in a kind person. There's no one else like you on the planet.
You know, I always remember one of my early impressions of Rosalie was because she figured when Bob attracted all these very unique people around him, nobody was, they just were all different and they all were themselves. Be you, be real, be one, right? And so that's Rosalie.
He didn't change the nature of Lucky the monkey. Lucky got special. No, but it was an epiphany because I thought, well, I guess I'm not a group person. I mean, it hit me like, whoa, because and that's a part of that thing when you get excited about something. That sentence from the beginning, when I heard that, that was my favorite. I thought, wow,
Oh, yeah, that
it's
was-
the scent of joy. You don't want anything put in the way, you know.
We got a
and
kick.
dance
We
it.
got a kick out of Monday night. That was the one that Scott chose.
Oh,
was-
that's true. We
yeah.
did. Yeah.
So
we
Monday
did.
night, Scott chose Mystical Life
Number
8.
8.
You
Yes.
know,
And I almost
God in us is
confirmation,
rejoicing
yeah,
is,
yeah.
and then the next night is when we did the performance.
Right.
And
And
I
that
have,
was-
I have
And
that
that was
quote.
the anniversary of your coming, the 16th.
Oh, it was my anniversary when we had this group song thing of coming 54 years to the Baba Center here.
On
November 16th. Yeah.
Wow.
And if anyone ever hears of a Baba lover, Dick Anderson, I mean, he was like a Baba contact. He was, you know, and I arrived here in Myrtle Beach right on his birthday at that. It was different. There was a fence and there was, you had to call ahead and they came and unlocked it for you. And that was 1971. Yeah.
Gate in the mailbox.
Yeah,
That's all
gate.
was on
And
the
there were 7 green posts in the ground. Short posts, you know.
I just realized we have been recording all of this.
Oh.
And
So-
I need to go.
Yeah, I
But
think
thank you
we'll-
both
Yeah.
for wonderful, wonderful remembrance of beloved Baba.
Yeah,
Jai Mer
Mega
Baba.
Baba. Sweet dreams, Sita.
It's actually dawn now. That's
Is
the
it
light
really?
is coming and the birds are singing. So
Oh my gosh. Well, you have our permission to sleep late.
And
thank you.
I've always loved that backdrop that you
It
used.
reminds me of going into Marazad, you know?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's on the journey.
lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Little pyramid there.
Jai Meher Baba.
Okay, Jai Mer Baba. Thank you.